All right, so what I wanted to do is really, on the technology side, embrace change, right? I think everything we have to do has to be embracing change. And when you look at technology, change is today. It's already happening. So initially I started calling it the barbarians at the gate, right? Because when people hear the word millennial, and by the way, there's what, 3 millennials here? Look at them. They've assimilated. They look just like us. All right, don't let them out. Don't let them out. No, but the more I studied, the more research I did, the more I fell in love. And I don't say that loosely, especially as a Texan. You know, I use that word with my kids and my wife and my mom, my dad every now and then. But there are heroes, and there's a lot of reasons why there are heroes. So for those of you who have never heard me present, think of it as we're building a table together. I don't go linear. What I'll do is I'll pick a post and another post and a post, and you'll be going, where's he going? It looks like he's skipping around. It all comes together, so bear with me on that. But I think it's really important. I'm not bouncing around. We're building a table together, and you got to have multiple legs for the table to stand. So already got an introduction. I'm with Vagabond, a technology company. Other than saying you guys would never use me, yeah, I did say that. What I was getting at was because we're the leaders today in our industry in this room, we already have a VMS. So I can come here and be very honest and straightforward and talk about this without worrying about it being dirty, you know, and trying to sell you, because then it takes away the value of the conversation, which is what this is. So for those of you who aren't going to pay attention, I'll give you the conclusion up front. Millennials are going to provide the best opportunity we have for growth and profitability in the industry over the next few years and into the future. This is the biggest opportunity in many ways, and it's the whole thing that we need to start focusing on. Because today already...
You are unique. You are different. You are special. We definitely get that. We understand everything about you, especially the way you talk online, like totes, BRB, and join the conversation. You say that, right? The point is, you are free. Free from words with vowels in them. Free from the restraints of natural hair color. Your hair is totally pink. You dance all the time. On the street, in your room, and definitely with your eclectic group of friends. Wow, Ephraim plays the ukulele. That's unexpected, but that's just how millennials roll, according to our thought leaders. Also, you love peace. Love it. Which is why you keep having peace parties on the street, where you express yourselves with colorful signs and spontaneous displays of patriotism. We think our products are great for peace parties. Another thing about you is that you never sleep. You are up till dawn, but you're high on life, not drugs or anything like that. You are super happy with no drugs, no alcohol, and no ugly faces. That's what we like too, LOL. Here's an emoji that you've been known to use. See, we get it. You are also determined because you can't be held down. And you have just one night to make it happen. What is it? No, seriously, will you tell us so we can depict it in our ads? We know you care about causes. Us too. That's why we made our 100% plastic products 10% smaller that one time. And gender. Is it difficult for us to understand this one? We're just going to go ahead and pass and hope you don't notice. But we do hope you notice we made our brand rainbow-colored for Pride Week. What can we say? We're bold like that. Hashtag bold like that. Hashtag BLT. Can we do that? No? JK. Most of all, you guys are having fun. Fun with your phones. Fun with your apps. Can you remind us of the cool new app everyone is using again? We totes know, but we just wanted to see if you know. Wait, where are you going? Is this a BRB? Are you swiping left on us? No problem. We focus group this scenario, and we shall BRB as well.
I can watch that 20 times. Every time it gets me laughing. Because that's our impression, right? Do you know the average millennial is in their 30s? The youngest is 20. 20 to 35. They're not teenagers, right? In our mind, we're fearful of these young people coming in and messing everything up. They're adults. These are no longer young people. That's Z now. So who are they not? Well, they're definitely not the baby boomers. We look at the boomers' historical points because it's all about mindset, right? You got to understand the mindset. Cold War, the assassinations, JFK, Robert Kennedy, MLK, Vietnam, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, Woodstock, created traits of experimentalism, individual, free spirit, socially orientated, not optimistic and distrustful of the government. Then X, right? My generation grew up with fall of the Berlin Wall, Challenger disaster, energy crisis, 3 Mile Island, AIDS, and MTV. So we became independent, resourceful, self-managed, adaptable, cynical, et cetera, right? Focusing on a balance. So millennials, 9/11, helicopter parents, right? The trophy kid, Peter Pan generation, meaning they come back. Bernie Sanders supporters, but they grew up with technology and computers and tablets, and there's an app for everything. Everything is instant. Mobile wallets. They're very optimistic, very up for change and challenges. They are more liberal and less religious. And these are points about trying to get into the mindset of who our clients are. Now, Z's coming right behind them. These are the teenagers and the young kids. Very different. Their biggest point of reference in life is the recession. So more money-focused, more conservative. Their tech skills are going to become what they call instantly workable. But so these are the clients that we need to start thinking about and focusing on. So when you talk about your millennials, today they're over 34% of the workforce. They're just almost 0.5% more than Gen X. And of course, the baby boomers are falling off. Think about that. They're already almost 35% of the workforce. You look at the population, almost 54% of the population are millennials, which is 70 million people in the United States. If you're worried about millennials, you need to be very worried, or you need to get excited, because this is the country today. This is the workforce today. So let's skip to another leg of this table we're building. Let's look at our own house. And I'm saying this and take it the right way, but I think vending is in disrepair. I think when you look at our industry, it's not in a great condition. You know, I threw a couple sentences because when you hear a word, right, you're supposed to use it in a sentence. But the lighthouse was in disrepair. But here's one of the things that really blew me away, and I had to put this down. So I spent hours reading about millennials, and some of the stuff I read was very enlightening, and some of it was depressing about our industry. So vending machines are one of the few things keeping us away from a dream of a cashless society. The devices, which offer an array of items for a little more than pocket change, are silent but prevalent. Atlas Obscura is an online website that talks about places to visit that are more obscure, nothing to do with mechanics or mechanical things. And they're lambasting vending as the one thing that's keeping society from going cashless. Is that repair or disrepair, right? It's a problem. So, of course, like I do with all my presentations, I like to throw examples. There's an 800-year-old castle in Sicily. Absolutely, since the Holy Roman Empire through World War II was in perfect shape. Used all kinds of different wars up until Germany used it in World War II. Once the war stopped and the state stopped paying attention, the place fell apart. 800 years later. Great Wall of China. Over a third of the Great Wall is nothing but dust today. It is not visible from space. They only keep roughly a third of it. You see the same pictures over and over again. Disrepair. My neighbor's house. Sorry. What about our vending machines? These are real pictures of me traveling around. I made sure there was no names to protect the guilty. But, I mean, when people see this, what do they think of our industry, right? So what are you what are you doing? How are you embracing technology for yourself and your business? This isn't anything to do with me or Vagabond or any of the other tech companies. It has to do with you and your business. Are you upgraded to MDB and DEX? Why not? Are you afraid of it? Afraid of spending the extra money? Technology is going to be the key, not just for your profitability, but it's going to be the key to connecting with the millennials who are our clients today. So what do you need? Have you had your business evaluated? Have you looked at the cost? Do you know the cost of upgrading 100% of your machines? It's about the industry, right? But the industry starts here. So not getting into a lot of math here. I know we had some earlier, but I believe everybody here should have a vending management system. Doesn't matter which one. The important thing is, are you analyzing your business? Are you letting data run your business? Are you using paper? Because if you're using paper, you need to change or call me. I'll buy your vending company. Seriously, it's the profit difference between a company with and without a VMS is over 300%. And if you want, we could crunch the numbers on your own business, but the risk is very small today. This is the excuse I get every week when I'm talking to new operators. Right? Is that you? Hope not. So what does that rude couple of slides about disrepair have to do with millennials? Well, it's everything, right? This new generation is the future of all our businesses. Baby boomers are leaving, right? The youngest is 53 or 54 now. My generation didn't really get behind vending, right? Millennials. So what do we do for millennials? Do you realize that this is the only consumer group that we tell them they have to adapt to us? Think about saying that to a baby boomer or even a Gen Xer. You got to change the way you buy because this is how I want to sell the product to you. It's the only generation that we say that to. And it's really sad. I spent hours reading Wells Fargo and Chase Bank annual reports and how afraid they are about the millennials, but their refusal to change and adapt. It's kind of speaking out of both sides of your mouth. Like David said, by 2020, 50% or more of the workforce will be millennials. Should be something to get excited about. There's 3 changes that they're doing that should open our eyes. The first one's very near and dear. I'm an economist by education. I took statistic classes for fun. You can make fun of me over beer later. But the analytical mind that these young people have is amazing. The stuff that they do, everything that they buy, they've read articles and stats and reviews and things that would have taken us forever, right? Trial and error. They're very analytical. They're very socially responsible. They want to connect with the businesses and the products that they're buying. They want to know about you as an operator. What are you doing in your business? That's what they're looking for. Mode of communication. 73% of millennials would rather use an email than to get on the phone. I'll be honest with you. When I read this, my dander got up and I got kind of angry going, just answer the damn phone. My 4 kids, I'll call them. As soon as it quits ringing, they'll text me. What's up, Dad? But everybody experienced that, right? But, the more I read about that and the interviews with millennials, you know what they said? I need to think about it. I don't want to be answering right now. I want to think about it because they analyze everything. So it's not a bad thing. Especially in business, they want to have a thought before they have an answer. I'm not saying my generation, we're just quicker. But, it's how do we adapt, right? We have these analytical minds who are coming in and taking over the business world. We should be getting excited. How do we adapt to that? Again, I showed this. They're already 54% of the workforce. They're here, or 54% of the population. So let's think like a millennial for a little bit. Change is great. It's a fact of life, and they embrace it. They're used to living in unpredictable conditions. Think about how we were raised. They were raised with the recession, terrorism, fear of climate change. You can't watch a sitcom, a cartoon, or a movie without one of those being in your face. So it's a constant mental pressure. It's one of the reasons why they love the world at their fingertips. To get a picture of their food, right? They're embracing those moments because in the back of their mind, they've been trained to have fear. So when you think about that, it makes those pictures a little more embraceable than a joke. This is another one I thought was amazing. When you think of their ecosystem, right, their world, we grew up, it was the block, and then it was the middle school, right, and then you got to the high school, and you're getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Their world is online. Somebody in China, Brazil, that they're talking with because they're part of a social group, right, on Facebook or LinkedIn or some of the other ones I don't know. But they don't have that small mindset. The world is here for them. It's a very small world. That's amazing. Now, you look at changes. I mentioned banking. I'm going to hit that a little bit more, but they just want an experience when it comes to banking. They don't care how the money gets there. This is another stat that blew my mind away. 21% have never written a paper check. Over half are using non-traditional payment methods. They spend on average over 5 hours on their phones. Again, it's all about the holistic approach. Think about using Uber, right, or Starbucks. You're not thinking about how the money's getting to them, right? When we write a check, the check goes to the company sends it to their bank sends it to our bank, then we get the check at the end of the month. You know, we see that, and we're waiting for that to make sure everything cleared. They just want to know that it's instantly paid. And this is the fear I was talking about with the banks. Look at all the companies coming into payments, the race to payments, as they're calling it. I mean, Android, Samsung, Google, Apple, Venmo, PayPal, on and on and on and on. But we're not doing any of that. We're still expecting cash and coin. So let's talk about another leg of the table. How about cash? Cash is more expensive than I think most of us realize. So I'm going to hit some little bit of numbers here, not get too geeky, but just a little bit. Think about the counters, right? Your security trucks to pick up the money. Theft, both internal and external. Banking fees, the insurance. One of my buddies in Phoenix, Ace Vending, had a truck stolen, but they had technology, and I think it took them, was it 20 minutes to find the truck? Technology is awesome. Think of your coin and bill, complaints, and repairs on the machine. 70% of the cost of running your business revolves around money and complaints about money and people not being able to buy something because of money. It's expensive. Cashless actually reduces cost, and it adds sales. And again, that wasn't even a theme or a thought when I started putting this together, but it fits with the technology for data capture, and it fits with what the millennials and how they want to pay. So let's look at this hidden cost of cash real quick. Think of an average bill acceptor. So this is a 10-year. I don't know if you guys read this. Paresh Patel used to have a 12 or 13 route vending company. Very intelligent man. Started VendScreen, and then today he's with the started PayRange. So a guy I respect. I used to call on him years ago. But he did this analytics, I think about 2.5, maybe 3 years ago. And it's still relevant today. But you look at the average cost per month, and you could look at the cost of the acceptor, once a year repair for 10 years, per year, per month, et cetera. The average CoinMac and bill acceptor costs you a little over $7 a month. And don't worry, you have this presentation. You do the math of your own. So let's look at the other secret costs. So he went through and pulled a full year of every single phone call and complaint that they got and what it was about. 61% had to do with cash and coin. So let's make this a little more mathy, right? So if we break that down, sorry, it's a 500 machine operator, $2 million of sales a year. And we did that $3.75 for the acceptor, the $3.33 for the CoinMac. And we looked at your average calls regarding those two items. It's over 3% cost to sales. Now we look at processing. You have to have somebody count the money, right? That's not free. So $14 an hour for him. You have to have a manager review it. I mean, you have to. That's a couple hours. That's another 0.13. Then you look at the bank charge for deposits. You look at rolled coins, money room equipment, armored car, money supplies. It's another 1.25 or 1.33 point. What about lost sales because the machine was down? I think this is really low. Vandalism, I think, is really low. He averaged 1% of his machines. Shrinkage, money that doesn't return. He came out with about 6.5% is his annual cost for handling cash. The average operator I deal with, we find it's somewhere between 8 and 10%. It makes cashless look a lot more affordable. Again, not getting any specifics, but taking a look at an average operator before and after a vending management system. So it's different than cash. This is just a VMS. A 2.5 margin before versus almost 19.5 afterwards. It's just changing little tweaks and letting technology run your business instead of the paper you used to do. And again, if you guys want to go over any of these numbers, I can go totally geek. No, none of you have seen this, right? What does that cost you? I mean, seriously, think about it. How long does it take someone to go back to that machine after the sign's been taken off and trust you again? A day, 5 days, 2 weeks? And those are the nice signs. Some of them are nasty. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. These are actually funny. I've seen some, I almost put on the presentation, but it was gross. Adults under the age of 35, so I don't quite make the cut, 51% would rather use plastic. So you look at 62% of Americans say that they think cash is going to be a dinosaur. Kind of reminds you of that article we read earlier, right? That vending is holding us back. 28% say they don't even expect to make a purchase in cash in a typical week. I mean, you get the theme. It's inconvenient. It's expensive. Nobody likes it. It's a pain. And yet, here we are. 80% of the vending machines out there only take cash and coin. You're not connecting with the mass market, right? We're in disrepair to the market. And I'll say this 100 times, millennials love vending. They embrace vending. You don't believe me? I'll show you some slides. Look at Best Buy, Ulta, Proactive. Was it last month that CVS announced that they're getting into vending? We'll touch on CVS here in a minute. So, true story. I had to put this up, and there's a couple points I'll make on this. So I'm sitting, I tried putting restaurant, but my wife laughed. So I was at a bar, and it was a bartender, 32-year-old bartender. I was at Siva. And I'm studying and going through all these articles on millennials, and I'm typing all this stuff up night after night. And I'm not one that likes to be in a quiet room, so I'm sitting in a corner of the bar, plugged in, reading all these articles and going through. And bartender comes up to me on day 2, and he's like, "I got to know what you're writing about. You're ticking away." And I'm like, "Well, millennials." Kind of looks at me. He laughs. I don't know why he's laughing. Maybe because I don't look like a millennial. But he's like, "I'm a millennial." I said, "No, that's great." And he said, "Well, show me what you're writing about." And I thought, okay, this will be a good test, right? So I start going through some of the data points, and I'm showing him stuff, and he stops me. He's like, "I got to tell you this story." He's like, "Last week, my sister, who's a young millennial," he had to point out, she's 24, her headset broke. And so he likes to spend one day a week, go to lunch, and hang out with his sister. So he said, "Well, where do you want to go?" She's like, "Well, I need to go by the airport." He's like, "Well, we'll just go to Best Buy, and you get the new headset, and we'll grab lunch there at the mall." She said, No. I just want to go by the airport. Drove her to the airport. She jumped out. He did his loop. She came out with the headset. $200 for a headset in a vending machine. $200 in a vending machine. We're crying about $1.50. $200 in a vending machine. I seriously think about that. Out of her way to avoid people. She did her research, knew what she wanted, went to a vending machine, Best Buy, at the airport to spend $200 on a headset. I was sitting there, and I couldn't type that story fast enough. It just blew me away. What opportunities are we missing? That somebody is willing to go and spend $200 in a vending machine. Before I show this video, this is the doubters in the room about cashless. So this blew me away. We think that the United States is all first world and we got everything going. Take a look.
It's the nation that first started using paper money more than 1,000 years ago, but now China might be the first country to phase it out because it's found a new way to pay. In this 3-part Reuters TV series, we'll be looking at the explosive rise of QR codes in the world's second largest economy, including what's behind the boom and the pros and cons of a rising cashless society. First, though, a look at just how widespread this way of paying has become. I'm Reuters' Grace Lee in China's capital, Beijing. And today, my producer and I are going to go around the city, and instead of paying for things with this wallet, we're going to be using this. China is becoming increasingly cashless, with over 70% of its population saying they don't carry around cash on a daily basis. Take this unmanned grocery store where customers can enter and pay using their phones through QR codes. It's a concept that Amazon originally came up with, but it hasn't taken off in the US yet. When China got wind of it, though, it became a money-making reality. Transportation is another thing that you can pay for with your phone, whether you're trying to catch a cab, take the bus, or ride one of these bikes to work. But QR code payments here go far beyond what people in the West would put on their credit cards. They're used for everything from paying rent to doctor's appointments. Beijing's traditional wet market might have been the one place to bring cash to up until a few years ago. But now with QR codes up and ready to go at every single one of these stalls, you can buy everything from meat to fish to even a fresh slice of watermelon with just a touch of a button. In fact, QR codes have become so common that even some homeless people use them for people to directly transfer change to their accounts. So we're winding down with some dinner, which we'll also pay for by phone. We've managed to spend a whole day without using any cash, and with the country's tech giants pushing for a more cashless society, it might not be long until this is what a typical day looks like in China.
Wow. Beggars with a QR code? Oh my God. I mean, and we're worried about $1.50 in coins in our machines. I haven't even touched the cost of how much money you keep in your machines times how many hundreds or thousands of machines you have. Wouldn't that be nice in a bank somewhere, invested into something, maybe technology? That blew me away. I had to show you that. So let me have my first stage of piecing this table together. So we're getting out a little bit of glue, grabbing the legs, and starting to build this table a little faster. Millennials are our heroes because they're going to force us to change and get out of disrepair, both with a VIN management system and cashless, which, by the way, give us what? Right? Connectivity to the machines, which in turn in the future are going to allow them to connect with the machines as well. So they're extremely loyal. They love vending, which I know I've already said 3 times. I'm going to say it probably 3 more times before I'm done. They just want it to be fun and rewarding. Cash is dying, and it's a depreciating value for your business. Millennials don't use cash. So we need to embrace the push on technology. So what's needed? Again, there's the word, right? Connectivity. They want to be connected to the brands, but guess who is a brand? Mr. Stein, Mark Vend is a brand, right? Each one of your companies needs to be a brand to be embraced. It's not just Hershey or Pepsi or Coke. You have to become a brand, and it's not that hard to do. Payment methods. Again, multiple opportunities on payment methods is what they need, other than cash and coin. They want to know that you are green or greener because of technology, which is a truth. And again, the experience, so loyalty, reward, gamification, all that means is earning points so they can play some game, and expectations, satisfaction. So this comes from being able to communicate back with your consumer, the millennial. So I'm going to touch something, and I promise you this is agnostic, so bear with me on this. This is part of the Google piece that at the early introduction that we're working with at Vagabond. So one of the keys with us helping to revive, hence the word vive, vending, is that connection. And how we're doing it is through embracing all our competitors. So whereas I know my buddy from Cantaloupe just left, but we work with Cantaloupe, Streamware. We just got an agreement with Parlevel. Vince has asked us for it. So we're trying to do the right thing for the industry, not just for Vagabonds. So like I say, bear with me on this. But think about the consumer being able to grab their phone and from Google Maps, automatically knowing where they're at. So think of like a university and being able to see what the closest vending machine is to them. Being able to, with the touch of a finger, touch the machine, look inside the machine in real time. So the product is out, they won't see it. Be able to see the product, look at the information, right, the nutritionals of the product. Being able to buy any way they want. Right at the touch of a button without ever touching the machine, and when they get within 5 feet of the machine, the product drops. So a little exciting. This is part of where Google's started to pay attention with us with vending, and why we're going outside of just vagabond into vending as a whole. Avoiding the stored value. Nobody likes stored value. It's put $5, $10 on a card so you could pay, and there's always change, and it's kind of complicated. It's not fun. Avoiding hardware and making it a touchless experience with flexible payment options and transferring that data live to any VMS. That's where vending is getting really exciting for all of us. In case this video is seen, I apologize to Parlevel and Vensis. We don't have their logos up there, but that's just a week ago, so I didn't have time to redo it. But again, this is going outside of just my company and embracing whatever you guys are at today and giving you an option to connect today. So let's talk a little bit about the future of vending, what it looks like. We already talked about CVS coming in a month ago. You guys have all seen Best Buy, heard the story on Best Buy. We see Proactive at the mall. Nike's getting into vending, Sephora, Samsonite. You know, you could go online and buy a car off a vending machine. Have you guys seen Carvanha? You go online, you pick the car you want, the style, the color, you argue the price, get everything done. Within 2 days, they send you a giant coin you take to their location. You put the coin in the vending machine, and out comes your car. I mean, seriously. This is exciting. And by the way, that's much more than $1.50. They're really big, those cars. So CVS was interviewed, and I don't know how many of you guys saw that on Automatic Merchandiser, but when they were interviewed, and I cut this to pieces because obviously it was like a 4 or 5 page article, no way going to read that to you guys. I picked out right after the question, why are you messing around with vending? And one of the first statements, millennials love the idea of interactive vending machines. Of course, boomers not so much. The appeal of ordering online, look at the groceries and restaurants, without human contact. I know that's a concern, but again, it's about us interacting with our consumer, not us changing our consumer. And that's a big thing that we have to remember. It's not about us changing them, it's accepting them and adapting to the consumer. People, his statement right before that was about millennials, like machines. So what's it look like for us? I don't know if any of you guys are going to go out and buy a car vending machine tomorrow, but you'll buy a regular vending machine probably sometime this or next year. What do you see different about this vending machine? It's beautiful, right? No buttons, getting rid of more than half the moving parts, no coin, no cash, a third cheaper, 20% more retail, getting rid of all those repair costs and calls. It's longer cycles because it holds more product, right? This is also part of what we're working on with our partners. And this is the future. And through begging and pleading, this future will be here for ACE this week. We'll have one of these machines made just for the show. So if you guys have an opportunity to come by and see it. And again, the idea is with embedded technology sent to the VMS you're using. So not you having to change either, but having opportunity. Now, obviously, with any technology, we have to have thought in where we go and what we start. But this is exciting. This is where the industry needs to head. And again, you're not putting another $80-something worth of cash and coins in there to create change either. So the profitability is definitely there. So again, touching a little bit on Google, taking a step back. They're paying attention to vending. You can see the Vibe machine that we used at their show. That's pretty exciting. One of the reasons they're excited because it starts with Google Maps, right? So using one of their tools. And then they're hoping it's paid with either Google or Android Pay, right? So again, that race to payments. So everything all the puzzles start to fit together. My business partner and CEO of Vagabond, Michael Lovett, was asked to present at their annual meeting. That is exciting. I know Google's a really small company most of you haven't heard of. But for a vending company to be asked, one of only 2 or 3 outside companies that come in there and present to Google, is thrilling for our industry. Right? This is about the industry. This isn't, fingers go this way. So this is exciting. So what else are we looking at? Reducing costs with micro markets. How about footprints outside? So where we're seeing all these other companies coming into vending, what if we have an opportunity for hitting a university and making a little money for the restaurants and the bars next door? I mean, would that create some more excitement? They use the same app on their phone. They can go straight from a vending machine to their restaurant or to their bar, and you guys could partner and actually make money on that. Just like Eatsa charged 20% to deliver food for restaurants. This is what we're working with at Google, and so more of this will be coming. We put our first micro market out last week. We did a university in Phoenix, and we're still a little early, but within the first 2 weeks, 49% of the sales went through the app. When my installer, and I was actually physically with him in July, when they were installing the hardware on the machine, we had a line forming. And I'm trying to tell these kids, like, hey, it's not up for a couple weeks, you know. We're at a bank, but they wanted the 2 machines that we were working on instead of the 2 machines next to us. And I'm like trying to like, hey, and they're downloading the app right then and there. And once we were done, what we saw them doing is that the people that weren't there early, they would wait for someone to go look at what they wanted, and they'd buy something behind their back just to walk in front of them and grab something. It was amazing, you know. A lot of fun. So this is, oops, here we go. I figured out how to pause it. Where's she at? All right, so this is a regular machine and what it looks like. So it starts with Google Maps, finding the machines closest. You're able to look inside the machine in real time. Obviously, this is a combo machine, so a lot of products. Check the nutritionals. And pay any way you want. Venmo, PayPal, debit card, credit card. And look at the machine. Never touch the machine. So when I say Google's getting excited and we're getting excited at the future of vending, and because the future's now.
So watch this. So you can do PayPal, Apple Pay, any credit card, debit card, and then we'll do. So we're paying with PayPal right now. This is communicating with the machine. So what are we getting? We're getting ruffles. Where's the ruffles? Oh, yeah, they're getting a better view. See, look at that. Look at it. Look up, up, up. Look at it. Yeah. That's it. Isn't that cool?
Oh.
That's high tech, huh?
I'm really surprised. That's so cool.
So, are you going to download the
Yeah, I am. That is so cool. I can do it
As you walk in, you get there from like 50 feet away, 100 feet away. So
But you want to be close enough because what if somebody takes your snack?
Oh, yes. That's so true. That's so cool.
But you're shopping as you're walking out.
That was, Juan wanted me to throw that in. So Juan, if you're watching, I did it. So there was one of the accounts that we're working on last week, and it was an airport account, and the lady just was running around telling all her friends, and they're downloading the app. Again, it's fun again, right? It's interacting, it's communicating, and again, it's sending you the data you need and avoiding cash. It's all the pieces to this table we're building. So let's start to close this up, right? Millennials are our heroes in vending. We need to embrace them with both arms. They're our clients today. This isn't in the future, right? They're in their 30s, 35, to 20s. It's a great opportunity to get out of disrepair. In just 2.5 years, they're going to be over 50% of the workforce. It's not a lot of time. So technology is our friend. We need to embrace it. Obviously, VMS is going to create profit. There's new tools out there that are agnostic that'll work with any VMS. There are new machines that are coming out. They're going to avoid the cost of handling cash, which are exciting. So we need to embrace all this to win in business and to grow in the future. So the nutshell, right? So kind of the first and last are the same. Vending does need to be cleaned up. I think we do have an opportunity. But the beautiful thing is we have the clients that are ready to embrace it. When you look at cash, it's a business model that's dying, and we need to start planning for that. Cashless has multiple benefits. One of them, obviously, is getting the data so you can manage your business efficiently. And technology does connect us with the millennials and gives us an opportunity to take it to the next level. I mean, vending is exciting again. After doing this research, I went from like, what am I going to say about these guys to I love them. I mean, we need to embrace the change and embrace the millennials. This is a big opportunity. So that's my spiel. Hopefully I did it. Someone offered me money to go quick. Who was that? Jeff. You getting the money out? All right. Any answers? You know what? I don't have an answer to that, and that's a good point. I know that their frequency is much more than Gen X, but I didn't get a number of once, twice a day. When you think about something like that, it has to be proximity, usage, business types. Are they working at their house? Are they working in an office? But I don't have a clear answer on that one. The interesting thing is with tools like Vi that we're talking about, they're going to tell you. And so what we're doing at the one university in Arizona is we're allowing them to communicate what are their favorite items, what's missing, and do a vote poll so that if like 100 people vote for a habanero Cheeto or something, then the operator knows, hey, this is what we need to put in as the next item. Or they can announce it that, hey, it's at this location on the campus. So it's that connectivity and intercommunication, so they'll tell you what they need. They do prefer healthy. Not everybody, right? Let's not go black and white. But they'll pay for it. And they're willing to pay a premium to get what they want, which is what we all want to hear, right? We're willing to supply what they're willing to pay for. So that's the good news, is that unlike my generation, right, X, they're not as cheap. That's a Mexican symbol for cheap. You guys learned something new. All right. Any more questions? It was just... Everybody hear the question? Yes. That's the quick answer. The goal and objective is, which is one of my focuses, getting the partnership. So I've been focused on the other VMS companies because without that integration, it cuts off your data. So the plan is to go second level. Like I said, we got our first market open up last week. So the idea is to start going to the markets and partnering with them as well. Plus, it's more secure. So that's a big piece that I didn't touch on, kind of intentionally. But when you look at the technology we're using through with Google, you guys have heard of tokenization? So tokenization was originally what the industry saw as the safest way to deal with cashless transactions. What happens is instead of having a credit card number, you get a token. So that went away to chip and pin. And now they're looking back and thinking, well, you physically have to have a card. So now they're looking back at tokenization. So the way Vibe would work is you would register. We would never get, nor would your VMS ever get the number. It automatically goes to the processor directly. So I think right now we're using a Prevo. We're talking with USAT and some other options. But right away it goes straight to them, which is the most secure connection you can have. The phone gets a token. The phone gets a token. So when you use your phone on the purchase, it has to be the same phone. So the way we're looking at it, so if someone broke into our system, right, some amazing hacker, where's that guy? One of the guys he really hates, he's gone. All right, breaks into Vagabond and steals all our data. They got all these tokens. Now they got to find you and steal your phone because the tokens will only work on the phone and only work with Vive. So they couldn't take that token and go to, Best Buy and buy something. It has to be done on Vive. So the value of stealing is worthless without them having your phone to go to a vending machine or a micro market. So that's what we're looking at as the integration piece, and that's what we're looking at from the security piece, so that we're never touching the number. You're not the merchant of record. I'm not the merchant of record. And so that gets rid of a lot of costs and a lot of liability with that. Does that answer? But yeah, the long-term goal is to have vending markets and then even the restaurants and bars and just kind of bringing that out, because then everything is interacting, and that's, I think, the big goal. And it becomes a lot funner because now you can earn points. Have you tried this? You've seen 5 vending machines on campus. The 6th one gets you 50 cents off your favorite beverage of energy drink or whatever. So kind of reward them for doing that kind of stuff. How do I monetize it by transaction? So how Vagabond's making money? We're not yet. Well, I mean, the long-term goal is it's going to be a monthly service. So what you're looking at is today a piece of hardware for vending that goes into a machine, $10 a month. It's whatever VMS you have in the $10. It's the Verizon connection. It's the cashless ability. It's the interaction with the consumer and the hardware for $10 a month. So subscription based. If you look at what you're paying today for a card reader and a VMS, you're probably in the $14 to $16 per machine per month. So it's going to be between 40 and 60% less.
So your contract with those other providers, so you're going to pay the VMS fees, or it has to be a Vagabond fee?
So we have a deal with the ones that we've already signed, and they're going to get a percentage of the $10. And so, I mean, it depends on the type of company, because obviously Streamware charges differently than Cantaloupe would charge. It charges differently than you're paying for USAT. But the idea is flat $10, hardware inclusive, cashless inclusive. Yep.
You said restaurants. Would they even be able to have the ability to order from a coffee shop and say that I want, like, the app that they use for stuff?
That's the partnership. So one of the things, and again, we're going to be on the internet, right? So the discussion with our partner is to start with campuses and kind of branch out. So like a military base or a college campus, and hit the restaurants and breweries or coffee shops nearby. And so you're focusing on that younger millennial group, which will, I mean, we're seeing adaption, I mean, instantly almost, and kind of branching out from there. We're trying to go fairly slow, really focusing, like I said, with military and focusing on education or tech centers, because we want to do it right. And with any technology, you got to crawl to walk before you jog to run. So that's the long-term goal, and that's the long-term goal with our partner. So, any answers? Cool. So now you know everything about millennials. The future's great. All right. Thank you.